A river isn't just moving water. A house isn't just shelter. In literature, everyday objects can live double lives, carrying meanings far beyond their physical form. This is symbolism, the art of making the intangible tangible. But not every object is a symbol. A writer might describe a red rose in a garden. That's an image. If that rose comes to represent passion or sacrifice, it becomes a symbol. And if roses appear again and again, connecting to the story's central theme, they become a motif, gaining power with each mention. The real magic is in how a symbol's meaning can grow and even turn on itself. Take the house in Kate Grenville's novel, The Secret River. At first, when the settler Thornhill built his home, it's a symbol of security, achievement, and family. It's a positive, hopeful image. But the house is built on stolen land. As the story unfolds, the house becomes a physical representation of the colonial project. Its meaning deepens and darkens. It's no longer just a home. It is also a violation. It stands for security, but also guilt, for belonging, but also for dispossession. Why not just state the theme? Grenville could have written, colonialism is a morally corrupting force, but that's an abstract idea. Showing us that solid, comfortable house, built through violence, makes the moral reality concrete and undeniable. It creates an understanding that a direct statement never could. That's the power of a great symbol. It doesn't just describe an experience, it creates it. Saying someone is sad is one thing, but symbolizing grief as a heavy stone on the chest allows you to feel its physical weight, its suffocating pressure, and its permanence. It turns a word into a world.